In the 1800s, people started saying, doggone, doggone it, dog on it, and daggone as a way of politely cursing about a frustrating situation. In that sense, this is truly a doggone mystery, but it's also quite literally about a dog gone, a canine that suddenly went missing from some ancient coins. It's a doggone gone dog mystery, and I sure hope you can help me solve it. It all started in ancient Bactria, back in the 3rd century BC, when an upstart ruler named Diodotus asserted his independence from the Seleucid Empire. This self-declared King Diodotus the Savior then passed on his royal claim to his son, Diodotus the God. Like his father, this second King Diodotus minted some very nice gold and silver coins. Here you see his portrait beribboned with a Hellenistic royal diadem. The reverse depicts a dynamic image of the Greek god Zeus hurling a lightning bolt at his enemies. Zeus's eagle advances aggressively at the god's left foot, its wings flaring. The younger Diodotus also issued a low-denomination fiduciary currency consisting of various kinds of bronze coins for small everyday purchases in the local economy. Our mystery lurks within this localized bronze coinage. In ancient Bactria, gold and silver coins were prestige money meant for the ruling elites. It circulated farther and higher than bronze issues. By higher, I mean above the aspirations of the poor, whose economic interests were local and limited to small-scale wages and purchases. Today, auction houses, museums, and glossy picture books seldom pay much attention to low-value bronze specimens. Yet we all know that the way to reach the humble masses of antiquity is to collect and study the coins they used most in everyday life, the dull-colored, dumpy, poorly preserved little bronzes like the ones minted by King Diodotus. Diodotus chose to put Hermes and Athena on one coin series and Zeus with Artemis on the other. The latter design had to be abbreviated on the tiniest denomination, which substituted the eagle for Zeus and a quiver of arrows for Artemis. Behind this choice is the first hint of our mystery. Why Artemis's quiver and not her dog? Why not pair her totem animal with his for better symmetry? Maybe I seem too fussy about the missing hound until you notice something else. Artemis's dog vanishes from the larger bronze coins as well. Now that is curious. Where has the dog gone, and why? When a Greek imagined Artemis, he naturally thought of her in terms of Greek myth and religion. Her father was Zeus, and her twin brother was Apollo. She was so potent and popular among the Greeks that her magnificent temple at Ephesus was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, revered on a par with the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Artemis was goddess of the hunt, and her ever-present hunting dogs were as sacred to her as an owl to Athena, a panther to Dionysus, or of course an eagle to Zeus. So why would a Greek king remove her hound from the coins? That's like taking the torch from the Statue of Liberty or Hedwig from Harry Potter. I suspect it was the indigenous population of Bactria that convinced King Diodotus to ditch the dog. They were among the people most likely to rely on small bronze coins for conducting daily business. So what did they see when handling this money? Who was Artemis to them but some woman running around with a long torch? And why was a dog with her, yapping at her feet? Where a Greek saw a goddess hunting with a hound, a Bactrian focused on the dog and thought of death. Historically, the native Bactrians and immigrant Greeks had a very different relationship with dogs, which set the two cultures at odds for deeply religious reasons. It started when Alexander the Great arrived at the capital of Bactria in the spring of 329 BC. According to the writer Onesicritus, who was there, the streets of the city were strewn with decaying bodies and bleached human bones. The local custom was to let dogs dispose of the disabled, deceased, dead, and those dying of old age. These packs of hounds were called devourer dogs, part of the Zoroastrian practice of allowing animals to get rid of corpses. For the Greeks, this was intolerable. As anyone knows who has read Homer or Sophocles, the worst thing you could do to a body was to leave it for animals to devour. Corpses must instead be cremated or buried in the ground. For Zoroastrians, the opposite was true. A dead body must not pollute either earth or fire. It must instead be surrendered to carrion eaters, such as birds and dogs. This produced a religious impasse that Alexander resolved by force. He outlawed the devourer dogs. This response helped to shatter Alexander's reputation for cultural and religious tolerance. In fact, it is in Zoroastrian literature and virtually nowhere else that a tradition hostile to Alexander still survives. His treatment of the Zoroastrians earned him the title Alexander the Accursed, for he was accused of burning their sacred texts, killing their leaders, and attacking their age-old customs. There's no reason to believe that the native Bactrians ever forgot or forgave the forced abandonment of their ancestral burial practices. In fact, when the Greeks finally deserted the Bactrian city at Ai Khanoum many generations later, there's archaeological evidence that the native peoples quickly returned to their custom of exposing the dead. To quote the last line of my book, Into the Land of Bones, as if the Greeks had never come, the devourer dogs were growling again over the bones of the Bactrians. Curiously, at the same time as the massive Greek withdrawal from Ai Khanoum, the reigning Greek king Eucrates the Great was murdered by his son. According to ancient sources, the killer so hated his father that he treated the corpse in the most wicked way imaginable for a Greek. He threw the body aside, unburied, to be devoured by dogs and other wild beasts. It was in this context, halfway between Alexander's prohibition and the return of the devourer dogs to Bactria, that Diodotus circulated his bronze coins showing Artemis and her hound. It was perceived very differently by his Zoroastrian subjects, who must have thought immediately of the burial custom denied to them by the Greeks. Resentment at this insensitive reminder may have run high, compelling the king to remove the dog from the coin. So that is where and why the doggone dog has gone, as I first suggested years ago in my book, Thundering Zeus. Can you come up with a better solution to this mystery? If so, please let me know in the comments. I'm Dr. Frank L. Holt, thanking you for watching this presentation and inviting you to please like, subscribe, and share this channel with others. There's more to come, so I'll see you here next time.